Alrighty. Welcome back to the channel. This your boy TJ. Alrighty. Shout out to Fanon International Boxing. Uh, I just viewed his video he just dropped. According to Fanon and according to sources, that Errol Spence Jr. is set to relinquish his 3 unified welterweight titles to move up to 154 pounds to become a main challenger of whoever will be holding the belts at that time. Now, as we all know, Errol Spence's first fight at 154 will be against Keith one-time Thurman, a foe of Errol Spence Jr. from coming up from the 47-pound ranks. Now, as we know, Keith and Errol, they have a lot of history. Errol has been adamant about not fighting Keith Thurman for the past couple of years because, as we all know, Keith Thurman refused to give Errol Spence a shot at unifying the welterweight titles when Keith Thurman was the WBC and Super WBA welterweight champion. Now, I have quarrels about this. I know a lot of Spence haters, a lot of Spence detractors, so on and so on. They have a problem with Errol fighting Keith Thurman. They have a problem with Errol. Well, clearly they are going to have a problem with Errol relinquishing the belts because they look at it as Errol is ducking Bud Crawford. And anybody with any logical sense, they would know that that's far, far, far away from the truth. Now, we all know that Terrence Bud Crawford chose to duck out of the negotiations with Errol Spence and the PBC to have a fight against David I've been sneezing, a.k.a. David Avanesian. Now, apparently Bud was paid $10 million. And like I say, man, I don't really care how much a fighter makes. That's really not my concern, not my business, how much a fighter is paid to take care of his family. My quarrel is if you had this guy in the back pocket and you doing double negotiations and then you just stop all communication with Team Spence. I mean, if he's going to do that, you should have just been upfront with it and told him, look, I want to fight this year, so I'm going to go ahead and take this fight. Now, according to Steven Espinoza, Bud didn't have to take that fight in December because the fight was offered to Bud Crawford in January of this year. So that means we would have had Undisputed a few weeks ago or a few weeks coming. Before the end of this month, we could have had Undisputed, but Bud Crawford chose to go another direction. Now, that left Errol Spence Jr. with multiple options. And what I mean by that is, of course, if he decided to stay at the 47-pound weight division, he would have to be, he would have been forced to fight a few of his mandatories. Now, being a 3-belt champion, Errol Spence would have had 3 mandatories. The IBF would have been Jaron Ennis. The WBC mandatory is Keith Thurman, who he is currently getting ready to fight at 154, and I'll get to that part in a minute. But his WBA title, I believe, I want to say that will be Virgil Ortiz or either Staniosis. Either one of those two guys, or one of those two guys will be Errol Spence mandatory for the WBA title. Now, guys, Errol Spence relinquishing his belts and going up to 154, and that's clearly letting everybody know he's not planning on coming back down to 147. And a lot of people is going to have a problem with this. But me, I personally don't. And here's why I don't have a problem with that. When you have been fighting at the same weight division for your entire career, now true indeed, Errol started off fighting at 152. But that was just to get him acclimated so he can continue to learn how to drop his body down to the welterweight division at 147. So it's safe to say that Errol has been fighting at 147 his entire career. Now, Errol Spence turns 33 years old this year. As Errol stated previously, I'm a 33-year-old man, 32-year-old man, and I shouldn't be walking around at 147 pounds, which I agree. But what I'm most excited about this is that Errol Spence gets a chance to go up to another division, capture a belt or belts, and become a 2-division champion before he calls it quits. Now, the guys, like I say, he's 32, getting ready to turn 33. Bud Crawford is 35. Jermell Charlo, who is the undisputed champion at 154 pounds, the first 4-belt undisputed champion at 154 in the modern day history. So Errol can go up there, and I believe Jermell Charlo, if he doesn't, I forget, to be honest with you guys, I forget which belt was threatening to strip Jermell Charlo I guess they wanted him to show proof of his injury. I don't know why they think a guy like Jermell will be making up an injury, because that guy don't duck no smoke. If you know anything about Jermell Charlo, he don't duck any smoke. This ain't Jamal we talking about. This is Jermell, the better brother, in my opinion. Definitely the better fighter, and definitely the fighter with more heart, in my opinion. No disrespect to Jamal, but I just feel like Jermell is the better fighter. Now, Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo are in the same camps. So if Errol want to get a belt up at 154, it's going to be difficult, because if Charlo is not stripped of either one of those belts, Charlo has made it very, very clear that he has no desire to fight Errol Spence Jr. At 154. But something's going to have to give, because Errol is moving up to 154. And like I say, shout out to Fanon Boxing International. And according to Fanon and according to other sources, Errol Spence has no plans of coming back down to 147. Now, I know a lot of guys is going to be like, well, man, we wanted to see him fight Bud Crawford. Forget what all that happened in the past about the negotiations and all that. If Bud Crawford wants to fight Errol Spence, well, he's going to have to come up to 154. And I agree with Errol. I mean, Bud Crawford stalled negotiations. You stall negotiations. Hearing the man tell you, I only got a certain amount of time left at 147. It's hard for me to make the weight at 147. So a lot of fans run around here and saying, oh, Errol Spence is ducking Bud Crawford. He's moving up to 154. I mean, what do you guys really want this man to do? So it's okay for Bud Crawford to duck out of negotiations, go get another fight, make his 10 million, get his bag. But Errol Spence can't go up. He can't take another fight and get his bag. Now, let's be reasonable, boxing fans, diehard fans like myself. Forget the belts. Which one is a better competitive fight? Errol versus Keith, or Bud versus David? I've been sneezing. Come on, let's be real about that. The better fight is Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman, belts or no belts. Belts or no belts. We know what the WBC tried to do for Errol Spence, but according to these reports, Errol Spence is like, thanks but no thanks, because I'm relinquishing every welterweight belt that I currently have. And again, that's the IBF, the Super WBA, and also the WBC. So in my opinion, I feel like Errol Spence is doing the right thing for his career. I feel like he's doing the right thing for his family. Bud Crawford broke off negotiations to go grab a bag. So Errol Spence is going up to go grab his bag. And unfortunately for Bud Crawford and Team Crawford, that Errol Spence won't be coming back down to 147. Again, according to these reports. So if Bud Crawford grow a set of nuts and he actually wants to really step in the ring with Errol Spence, well then, bro, you're going to have to move your behind up to 154, man up, and get in the ring and let everybody see what you got. Because personally, I think, bro, fighting early at 147, I mean, probably was your best chance. I mean, Errol drains himself to go down and fight at 147. And if you move up to 154 and fight Errol, which I don't think you got the heart to do, bud. I know you don't have the heart to fight Errol at 154 because you ducked him at 147. You know Errol will be much stronger, much more energized at a bigger weight. Really more of his natural weight. I really think Errol can go up to 160, but I see 154 more of his natural fighting weight, in my opinion. You know, you might differ, but that's just my opinion. But I don't think you have a chance of beating Errol Spence. And as far as the Keith Thurman, I think this is going to be a great fight. I believe Keith Thurman will be more powerful, more energized, not as drained as well when he moves up to 154. So belts or no belts on the line, the belts don't make the fight, bro. It makes the meaning of the fight. But, bro, it's going to be man for man. The belts can't get in the ring and fight for Keith Thurman. The belts can't get in the ring and fight for Errol Spence Jr. So at the end of the day, these guys got to throw fists. And I'm looking forward to this fight. This is a long overdue fight. This fight should have took place 3-4 years ago. But hey, like they say, it's better late than never. So I will accept the fight. I'm looking forward to the fight. I'm Team Spence all day. I would never, ever, ever, ever be Team Bud, because I am never backing a guy who AKA is Team Duck. Okay, that's his name, Team Duck, not Team Bud. I know you Bud Crawford fans ain't gonna like that, but y'all will be all right. So at the end of the day, man, Errol Spence is rumored to relinquish his 147 titles and move up to 154, which we all know he's already have a fight booked in this April. I believe it's April the 20th against Keith Thurman. It's going to be a action-packed fight, a great pay-per-view. And, of course, he's going to outsell you. You know I'm talking about you, bud. So at the end of the day, man, y'all guys tell me what you think. Do you feel like Errol Spence should not relinquish his belts and stay down to 147 and continue to wait on a guy that we all know he's not going to fight, Errol Spence Jr.? Nah, not me. Errol, move up, handle your business, get your money, and then hopefully if one of those belts come available, you can get a title shot at 154 sooner than later. So you guys tell me what you think, man. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and please double tap that icon so you will be notified every time your boy TJ drops a video. That's all I got for you guys. Deuces.